The Kendy and Raybo podcast, sponsored by Maeve's and the Garavogue Bar.
Good to have the old white hag back, isn't it?
Yeah, but this is
I know I
unbelievable.
said I didn't care, but now I'm kind of happy it's here, you know.
The old white hag is back. And
This is a micro IPA. It's
this,
for
is
little
the,
fellas.
this is the one I've been most excited about drinking.
Why?
It's called Oscar.
Right.
And it's only 2.5% alcohol.
That is Cog Bobbins.
Yeah.
Fair play to you.
Bob Coggins, otherwise known as.
So there's a couple of things that I've learned in the last little while, right?
Yep.
You don't need to be swinging Big Mickey all the time. Lucky for me. Now, the thing is, what I mean by that is, do you remember when we went to Broad Spain, and we won't go on about this, but I was drinking small ones,
Yes.
half pints
And I found out since why you
of
were
light
doing that.
beer. What?
Well, apparently, when you order a half pint, you drink it faster, and it stays colder for the time you're drinking it.
That's true.
Whereas you order the full pint of beer, by the time you get halfway through it, it's gotten a bit warmer because it's
Yeah.
out in your hand.
And then you're kind of going...
This is shite.
Yeah, it is a bit shite.
So you were actually onto something.
A little bit.
Everybody should be ordering half ones.
Yeah, you should, but not like you can't order a half Guinness because you get called fanny.
But you won't. Sometimes I order a family of Guinness, which is 2 big Guinnesses and a small Guinness. That's what I ordered yesterday evening in Fury's.
That's
I was
the
like,
new nuclear family.
Can I get a family of Guinness there, please?
That's
and he knew immediately what I wanted.
That is such a great thing to do.
Yeah.
Can I get a family of Guinness, please?
Yeah, can I get a big family of Guinness
But the
there?
nuclear family is
It's two, mommy, daddy and a little child.
But what about if you want to be very inclusive? Can I order a family of Guinness and they say, oh, what, one big one, one small one?
Or you could go...
Or what about 2 daddy Guinness
Can I
and
order,
one
can I
baby
order an
Guinness?
Ocean's family of Guinness, which is basically 2 big Guinnesses, 1 half Guinness, and maybe a half Carlsberg?
That's very good and all-inclusive. Can I get an
'cause
all-inclusive
that
family?
Carlsberg is part of the family,
Yeah.
but it is different.
Can I get a modern family, which is a pint of Guinness, a gin and tonic, and a half Guinness and a half Carlsberg. Anyway, the point I was trying to make is I like the idea. The one thing I'll always say, and Cog Bobbins won't mind me saying this, probably,
No.
but the big thing with the reason I was always not a big craft beer drinker is like, "Hi, why don't you drink this Belgian beer? It was made out of a foot and it's 12.5%." And you're like, Jesus Christ, who can drink that?
You drink half of it and you're out of it.
Yeah, you're out of it, and also your
In not
stomach
a
is
good
out.
way.
Your stomach is out to here,
Yeah.
and you're afraid that if you fart, you'll go up in the air like when you let go of a balloon. You know, like flying around the room.
Yeah.
So this is. I'm going to taste this 2.5
You
micro
haven't
IPA.
tasted it yet.
Don't call me a fanny for drinking it.
I
right?
won't.
No, but not you. I mean the general population. So that should be Cog Bobbins is. That should be what the White
I
Hag
don't know, can you go with
micro
that
IPA.
line?
No, you're not a fanny. That's the advertising.
Try. You haven't tasted it yet.
I have it because I'm big into it now.
It's really, really nice. It's Oscar. It's 2.5%. Comes in a tin. And Christ above, Mark's after finishing it there
4
now.
gulps, and I don't feel like I'm going to get sick.
You don't feel sick. And you're not bananas.
I mean, I might not be bananas. But I'll tell you one thing, man, you have a big ugly head.
Anyway.
Never
very
the
nice.
aggressive type as well, really, when we're drinking.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like, maybe we are all fannies, the two of us. But
I love you.
mind my handbag there, Brenda. I love the way you've hit, for anyone who's on Patreon there, or whatever, Ray's hitting a little bar of chocolate at the corner of the table.
I'll bring it out. Do you want some?
We're not doing any promotion for Dairy Milk. No, I
Can I
actually
talk
don't.
to you a little bit about chocolate?
Yeah.
So I
The
work,
state of it.
so let me get on to it.
Sorry.
Could we get into this? We could get into this.
I came in real hot
You
today.
did,
so
Jay.
sorry
You're real
about
hot.
that now.
So I work with a gentleman by the name of Dermot Reynolds. Dermot Reynolds is Sligo's #1 premier
HDMI provider.
TV installer.
Yeah, no, he
and
loads of
sound
HDMIs.
systems. I mean,
Yeah.
he's basically he's sensei for me. He
Yes.
knows how to drill everything. He knows how to put a socket anywhere.
He brought Cat 5 to Sligo.
He brought Cat 5 to Sligo.
Cat 5e.
Dermot is a man that should be well retired, but he's still putting in. I mean, he's well past retirement. But the man is literally the busiest man in Ireland when it comes to putting in televisions in Sligo.
Yeah.
And he's wiring up sound systems in churches, and I can't recommend him highly enough. He's like the Michelangelo of wiring an Amprac.
Yeah.
It's like the Sistine Chapel when you look into it.
I was just going to say,
everything
yeah.
is perfect.
Yeah.
Right. So
He actually put EV speakers into the Sistine Chapel after Michelangelo.
exactly. Yeah, he's just a wonderful man, but he makes me feel like I'm not living.
What do you mean by that?
Well, first of all,
As in getting stuck into the
first of
gussel
all-
of a pub that you're doing up.
at his age, he's working way more than I am.
Yeah.
Right? He rings me at like 10 o'clock on a Sunday night going, I'm still here. I'm just after doing this, that, and the other. And I'm going, why are you ringing me making me feel like shit? And then when I'm out with him, I'll give you an example, which brings us on to the chocolate. I was eating my Dairy Milk chocolate, Cadbury's Dairy Milk chocolate. Now, I have the packet here in front of me. For any of you on Patreon, you'll see it. For any of you not on Patreon, paying the £5 a month, which we'd really love if you would do.
Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah, you'll have to just imagine.
This real good content. You can't. They won't be able to imagine. You'll have to join Patreon to imagine the dairy milk.
Can you see where it says chocolate in that wrapper?
No. It say chocolate on that wrapper?
Have a good old
Have a right good look at it there now.
Yeah.
It does not say chocolate.
So how do you know that's chocolate?
Well, I would argue, and now looking at the nutritional value of it,
how much cocoa is in it?
the ingredients is
How much cocoa?
80%.
It's not 80%.
It's wrapped in 80% plastic. Sorry.
Yes, that's a really clever thing they've done as well. They've put how much recycled plastic is in it, and they've put 80% in it.
So you
which
think
is the thing that you'd normally associate with the amount of chocolate.
With little
in it.
chocolate, yeah.
Can you tell me how much cocoa is in that?
I'll tell you exactly how much cocoa is in it.
Yeah, take your time there now.
Cocoa butter,
Yeah.
cocoa mass.
How much?
Doesn't say.
Doesn't say.
Doesn't say it anywhere.
Doesn't give you any indication.
It also does not it does say milk. It says milk solids. Oh wait, cocoa solids is 20% minimum.
It has to be 25% for them to call it chocolate. Dun,
So
dun,
we are
dun.
on something here, because the other thing as well is, let me read these ingredients.
Now, I'm not saying it.
Vegetable fats, there's palm oil
there's a
in
heap
it.
of palm oil in it as well.
It's laced in palm. Now, God forgive me for getting nostalgic, right? But there was a day when there was no palm oil in chocolate and it tasted better.
Yeah.
And so did Lucozade. We'll
I
get on to
hope-
that in a minute.
I hoped.
Right?
I really
but
hope to
Lucozade,
God-
I loved Lucozade and chocolate when I was a young fella.
Me
Oh,
too.
Lord above.
Lucozade the Turkish Light is my get out of jail
Whoa,
free
but
card.
Lucozade and a dairy milk Turkish.
It's also the reason I'm on Nexium every day of the week.
But it's not. It was after every match.
Yeah.
Mihal, will you stop at the shop? I will,
Yeah.
yeah. And in you go. And I mean, so is this chocolate?
It's just about, if maybe even it's not. It's something that tastes very like it, but isn't. But it's 80% recycled plastic on the outside.
But it doesn't know. It doesn't know if it's chocolate.
It doesn't know. It's a very confused bar.
It's a very, very confused
But
bar.
this
But
is-
you're not allowed to call them confused anymore, Ray.
No, you're
even
not.
a young bar.
No.
Even a young bar, Ray, you wouldn't know.
I whip this out and Dermot looks at me scornfully and he says, "What are you eating that shite for?"
No, he's right, though.
And I go, "Well, what are you talking about? Why are you making these assholes?" Because I love this.
Yeah.
This is the greatest thing you
But
could
do
have
you
with
love it,
popcorn.
though? When you taste it, though,
I do
does it
taste
still
lovely.
taste like your childhood?
I couldn't tell you. I don't remember my childhood.
You blocked
It's a
it all
long
out.
time ago. I'm an old
But-
man.
No, but you understand what I'm saying, Ray, though? I can't tell if it's nostalgia or not, but chocolate tasted better when I was a young
Probably
fella.
did.
Do you know?
But that's pure. It's also a drop in nostalgia. We all think everything was better 20 years ago.
Well, it was.
And
The
it
grass
probably
was
wasn't.
greener.
Yeah.
The grass was way greener 20 years ago. I thought Ireland was at its best in the 60s.
But you weren't there.
When women were where they should be.
Okay.
Locked up in homes. And fucking-
Dermot said that
God,
the main thing you should do is buy do you know the ones that says the lint has 70, 80%
and they tell you
cocoa?
what it is, but
Yeah.
it's a load of wallop.
Anyway, he just makes me feel really shit because he orders feckin' meat from Dublin to cook dinners for his wife Mary.
Oh, he does not, does he?
Orders cheese from Parma in Italy.
Parmesan.
Yeah. He
That's where it comes
Parmesan.
from.
Yeah.
So he's one of those boys. Pure
He's
healthy.
just a man that-
So
yeah.
no wonder he's on the go then, Ray.
Yeah.
You're sitting around sucking Nexium into you at the age of
And eating shite
44.
chocolate.
And he eats
And he's
shite
at home cooking real meals.
And he should have been retired 36 years ago. He's
36 years
104.
ago. And he's working every job there is in the town.
And that's why, but it is so funny though. Brendan Tierney, right,
Mm-hmm.
shared a thing during the week of what we used to consume in the 80s versus what we consume now. And not to delve into the I did anyway, not to delve into too much of the scientific of it, but like it's a wholly different diet that we're working off of now.
Yeah.
And you know, if we're wondering, geez, I feel like a lot of more people are getting sick nowadays. I think they probably are.
Yeah, because of stuff we're eating.
And this was around the time of like even when you go back to the 40s and the 30s, it's like a real fucking misfortune and poverty. Obviously, we're probably better off health-wise now. But in terms of what we're eating, though, we're slowly killing each other.
Do you ever think there's a
ourselves.
wee link between the food industry? Again, we're drastically underprepared for this segment.
Yeah, no, but I'm going to delve into it like I know.
But
That's the only way to do this, Ray.
I always had the slightest feeling that the way the food industry has gone is kind of pushing us into the pharmaceutical industry. That one complements the other.
Oh, this goes to the top,
Yeah,
you're
so
saying.
if I'm eating, on average, 3 of those bars a week with all the palm oil that it brings, I hope that Dairy Milk haven't taken out an ad in this podcast. If the first ad you heard when you listened to this first, thanks to Go Loud, was a Dairy Milk ad, we're in trouble.
We're in big trouble.
But hopefully with Smirnoff Ice or something nice like that.
Something nice. Something
nice.
good
Bring
for the
on the summer.
environment.
Smirnoff Ice. Ooh, lovely. But I eat 3 or 4 of them bars a week because I love them. And it's surely not good for me. Maybe it's because the reason the size
You
I
eat
am.
3 or 4 of the bars that size a week.
I do. I'd eat one of them in a day.
Yeah, no. I mean, I would too. Like, I understand that, but but one in a day, like that might happen once in a blue moon.
Yeah.
You know? Are you eating 4 of those a week?
Maybe.
Shit.
Yeah, if I could just switch over to these 80% cocoa jobs that you can get in Lidl.
I'll talk to you about that. Myself and Nicola have often delved into what dietary stuff. Like, was it, not that we're like going mad on diets, but we might go, should we substitute that for this?
Yeah.
And now we've been very successful in doing it with Coca-Cola and Coke Zero. So we no longer drink. We only drink Coke
that's
Zero.
That's a big change.
Yeah. No, like, and we've done that for years.
Oh no! Like anytime I've ever gone to your house, you think, what will we get, Mark and Nicola? Let's get a 20-pack of Coke Zero, and that'll do them lovely.
Yeah, no, that's what we did. So Coke Zero is all we drink.
Coke Zero is all. Okay, I was thinking Coke Zero is not great either.
Why? What's wrong with Coke Zero?
Apparently, well, it's not far off Coke.
No, but the thing about Coke Zero is, and I don't fucking know this, but it but it doesn't have any sugar in it, like, or like, as in it doesn't, like.
What else does it have then, so to make it
No,
taste
the
all
thing
sweet
is,
and
I say that's Nicola. Whatever they're putting in this to make it taste,
it's lovely.
but it's not affecting. You're not getting whatever
the same,
sugar, like
the sugar, yeah.
So there is no sugar in it. That's the idea.
I
Is what I
don't know
mean.
now with the Coke. No doubt we'll get an old flood of 2 to 3
I'm sure,
messages.
like, whatever they're making it, whatever they're doing to make it taste like that, must be fucking.
It's probably
chronic,
bad
like.
as well.
Yeah, there's no sugar in it, but it is laced in heroin and amphetamines.
But that's not bad for you.
Yeah, no, but but you're sorting out the sugar problem.
Yeah, that's
Do you know what I mean?
important.
You can only cross one bridge at once, Ray.
You can't fix the world.
You can't
in one
just
day.
go across every bridge all the time, Ray.
No.
Anyway, the point I'm making is that we then at one stage said, let's start buying that 90% chocolate. I'm sure it's the very same. It's not. It's terrible.
It's just terrible.
Yeah, it is absolutely
70% isn't too bad. The sea salt
even
one that
the
John
new-
Riley does eat.
No, sea salt. And the other thing as well is these salted caramel bars are puck stink rotten. Right?
Yeah.
So, like, the thing is, we are what we eat, but also it's awful hard. I mean, I've seen it, like,
Then I'm 25% me. Or
not to call
20%
people
me.
out or whatever, but like Aoife Clancy's one of the best people to know on fitness and stuff like that. Like, and she'd often be telling me, no, you should eat this instead of this. And I'd be saying to her, Aoife, I know you have the capacity to do this
it,
and the will, and
It's so hard to stop eating
but
what you like.
do not be telling me that 90% chocolate is the very same as that, Jay, because it is not.
It's not,
And I
no.
don't get the same kick off
The
it.
90% is pretty tough going now. That's really like... That's hard.
Yeah,
I'll go
I mean,
with
you
stuff.
might as well be eating a lump of gravy.
Yeah, that's the original IPA that you're talking about at the top of the episode.
Yeah.
12.5%
It's just you
alcohol.
don't get anything off it. Like,
No.
I love, and I mean, even though it did taste better when I was a child, I love a good Dairy Milk Mint Crisp. Or those, is it Macroon or whatever the hell they are? They're in the paper green.
Yeah.
Whatever company makes those mint bars.
Yeah.
Or the Lord above, I ate 40 of them.
Yeah.
They're absolutely beautiful. But I know that it's not good for me. And it's know that I look at myself every day and go, besides, like,
speaking of you,
I threw out all my tank tops, by the way. You came in dressed like one of the beginners.
You threw out all your vests.
You came in like, I threw out all my tank tops the other day.
Are your vests?
Yeah, vests. Like, no,
Okay.
but I don't wear them as vests. I don't wear vests like you do to bed. I think that's what
I don't wear a
perverts
vest
do.
to bed.
Yeah. You said Sean Riley does it. He wears vest. I think you look like a pervert if you wear a vest in bed. I just think there's something about wearing a white vest in bed that you go, that's a pervert, isn't it?
Yeah, but if you get up, if you get up and you take your sidearm and you're going down to try and protect your family, then you look like bad boys.
you look
Bad boys.
like what you call him, Spruce Willis. No, you
Bad
don't.
boys, no.
You look like a bad boy. That's a different thing altogether.
Right. Okay.
So, but like
Did you watch Bad Boys 2?
yeah, but Bad Boys 2 was ages ago, wasn't it?
Well, it was ages ago, but did you watch
No,
it?
I did, yeah, why?
Was it any good?
Are you serious? Are we having a conversation in
No,
2004?
sorry, I did. No, it wasn't bad. The Bad Boys reunion one.
Yeah,
the two
that was
boys
like
got back
3 or
together.
4 or something.
Yeah,
that was 3.
Sorry, okay. Bad
Yeah,
Boys
I think
3.
I did watch it, but it was a load of shite. I was having this conversation. Geez, we're jumping. I was having this conversation with Brendan yesterday. Because we talk quite a bit, like me and him.
You cool.
I know we talk once a week. Me
Yeah.
and Brendan talk every day.
Yeah.
So just to put that out there. Anyway, we're talking about. He said, "Why don't you head off with Nicola now some night to the cinema?"
Yeah.
And I said to him, we might have talked about this before. I said to him, "'Cause the cinema's shite. The films now are shite."
I beg to disagree.
No, they are shite, like.
No,
So
I
the
think
thing is, and I'll get
Tom
onto it.
Cruise might disagree with you there.
Yeah, but okay, so Mission Impossible, right?
Did you go see it?
No, but he did all his own stunts, right?
He did,
all
and
that.
I had to tell him, at your age, man, get down off that plane.
No, come down, will you?
Come down off that plane. You have no
fucking
business
plane.
up in the wing of that
so
plane.
the thing is, I wouldn't have any real graw for watching Tom Cruise on the side of an airplane.
So until you watch him, and then all of a sudden it's real.
What, were you getting feelings?
I was, to be honest, I caught feelings of that film.
You were getting butterfly feelings
I did.
inside in your tip of your Mickey?
I wouldn't be a big Tom Cruise. Tip here, Mickey.
Were you getting
I wouldn't be a huge Tom Cruise Mission Impossible. I thought it was an awful dragged out bag of shite. And
So did I.
And then I went to see it there the last night.
Yeah.
And Christ above, I was impressed.
But is it just load of
the
pew
amount
pews?
of work that man did
Is it just
in 2.5 hours.
hang on, Tom, you need to get the president off that plane. Pew, 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 pew. And then he's up on top of the side of the plane.
It's kind
and then
of-
there's a massive explosion and he walks out of it. Like, I've seen that before. Like, the action films, they look too crisp.
Yeah, okay.
Action films look too crisp now. When you look at, that's to do with CGI, definitely. I don't care how realistic you make CGI look. It still it looks too crisp.
I can never tell.
So when you bring up Bruce Willis and he's looking in Nakatomi building,
Yeah, he
right?
was real.
Like that's, and the dirty old, bloody old, pucky old, sowy old feet in him. Like,
that's
covered
true.
that's a great one.
Yeah.
That's a belter, the 80s action films. Nowadays, the action films are like, you know this John Reacher or whatever his name is? Or any of those ones, Jim Preacher, all them things. I don't like them at all. I didn't like The Matrix when it came out. Because I didn't like seeing a fella dodging bullets with up on his hind legs. I just wasn't into that.
I think you should maybe take a look at the Dead Reckoning one, the Tom Cruise one. It's a lot of it's very real looking.
No, I get that. It might
Because I
look
think
real.
he's actually hanging off the side of the plane.
I know he is. He is.
Yeah.
But I still think it looks too crisp. That doesn't...
Do you want to watch it on a shite screen?
No, what I mean is, I don't care that
Surely
he's
there's a
hanging off
cinema
a
in
plane.
Castlereagh.
That's not what excites me.
Okay.
When I watch a film, I like a good long... I said this before, but I'll explain it again maybe a little bit better. Cillian Murphy was in a film last year, right? Where, right? So the film started, right? But it didn't finish.
No, it didn't. It just went nowhere.
It just kind of...
Stopped.
It just kind of stopped.
Yeah.
And nothing happened. And I fucking enjoyed every minute of it.
That's the one
And
about
that's
the
so
Magdalene
weird.
laundries, isn't
Yeah,
it? Yeah.
but the film ends in the middle of a scene.
Right.
It just stops. Like, it doesn't end, it just stops.
You would have enjoyed The Sopranos.
So I just like that. Yeah, there's stuff like that I like.
yeah.
I like real heavy dialogue stuff.
You don't like when there's a nice finish in it.
No, but not even that. I don't mind if there's a fin. I just don't like when there's loads of stuff and a big crescendo.
Right.
I don't like big crescendos at the end, really. I kind of like when something ticks along
stops.
a little bit. Like, and I don't need a big action ending.
Okay.
That's what I don't need, is a big load of pew, 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 right? I don't need that. I don't need that in a film. And Darek, a friend of the podcast, he loves mindless action films. He loves them. But they're just... And he'd watch every one of them. They're not for me. And when I look now, I love going to the cinema. I love the smell of the popcorn. I love the big, massive Coke, the fountain Coke, you know, that they pour out for you. Maybe an old bag of an old Skittler or Malteser and but there's nothing in there that's making me want to go there.
That's a shame now.
And it hasn't been for a long time. Bar that, and the Cillian Murphy film was only all right, like.
Yeah, it was only middling.
But I was like, I'm
kinda
glad I seen this.
Kind of similar to life for you, isn't it? You just want things ticking over.
Kind of a little
and
bit.
you don't want a big drama at the end.
I'm not blessed with like major ambition.
You don't want anything exciting.
I'm not
happening.
really that ambitious, like. And I do have the old school Irish mentality of, look at your man there with his old ambition. You know, I do. Someone talked about that this week and I really hit home at me and I don't know who it was.
What did they say?
Something along those lines, like, you know, like...
We don't like to see people who want to
like,
get places.
but just kind of, you know, don't be ticking along here now with loads of ambition, will you? Like, you know, will you not
but
just...
that's a real thing in Ireland.
It
and
is.
People really react badly to people who want to get things done.
Yeah.
They're like,
That's why we hate the government.
Stop, we can't say that.
That's why we hate some TDs, is what I mean.
No.
No, but it is funny though. No, me, I mean, not you.
But you
love
get
them.
it even in local places. When someone wants to build something or do something, all of a sudden there'll be 100 different objections to it.
Yeah.
And you'd wonder how many of them objections are based on, you know, general concern for the local bat population or...
It's always, come here. What the badger's going to do, like?
What the badgers are going to do?
You know, your
How are
man
they going to cross the road?
It's just that what happens there is there's a fella who built a house 15 years ago in the middle of nowhere, and now he's livid that someone else wants to build it like a field over
Yeah.
from him. He's the only one out there. Come here, there's badgers burrowing in that field. I saw it one night.
Yeah.
I set up cameras and I saw it. There's no way you're
And
doing
next
that.
thing, €3 million spent on a nature
and it
assessment.
takes 2 years.
Takes 2 years. And by
Up in
that time,
fucking-
the contractor is just done. He
Yeah,
hasn't
up
money
in
left.
McWilliam Square, whatever, in Dublin, in some fucking build it up there. Someone's doing an evaluation on why it's not possible.
Yeah, but also, as I said, there's that. But
Yeah.
there's also, like I said, people don't want to see people getting on.
Oh, definitely in Ireland, like there's a whole thing of the head in your man.
The head in your man.
Look at the head in your man
Who does he think
thinking that everything should be brilliant.
Yeah.
How dare he do that, you know? And to a certain extent, like, I think you get away with an awful lot more, even if it's true or not, just by moving slightly down the roads. So you know how we've talked about how scared I'd be to do anything in Castlereagh for fear of that, or it's common.
Yeah.
But it probably wouldn't happen.
Did you feel like, you
most
know,
people would probably say, fair play to Kendy there
Did you
going
feel
after the thing.
liberated when you got to Sligo?
Oh, Ray, sure, once I crossed the border, Ray, and they were chasing after me. They were chasing after me over the boglands of French Park all the way through Boyle.
Right.
And I finally made it over the border to freedom.
And now look at you.
And to democracy.
And now you have
and not
notions.
the socialist nation that is Roscommon.
Now you have notions.
Now I've big on. No, but the thing is, it's probably not real though. Like, would you have a fear, like in Killala? Back home
Let's
to Killala.
not talk about Killala.
No, but you set up a podcast in Killala.
No, Killala is the home of don't be getting ahead of yourself.
Don't be getting ahead of yourself.
Yeah.
But maybe it's not though. Maybe it's just me and you that think it is.
No, I don't think we'll ever do that.
Would you not let me down to Killala for pints?
You can go to Killala for pints.
I'm as quiet as a mouse.
I have no interest.
You just...
I have no interest in Killala for pints.
But like I do like going home to Castlereagh the odd time. Like
That's
I mean,
nice, yeah.
the funny thing is once you get home there, you kind of go like I've said this before a million times in this podcast. Like it's me that I'm worried about. It's me that I go. Do you remember that Kendy fella who was an absolute flute? Like when he was a kid. Well, look at him now. That's what I think.
I seen a little TikTok the last day about it was a 41-year-old gentleman, same age as myself, and it was just him standing there, just him standing looking into the camera, and on the right there was writing over his image, and the writing was things I'm proud of as a 41-year-old man.
Well, he should wrap it up now.
Things like saying things like I don't wear Crocs, you know, and I don't do this and I don't do that, and I haven't got a podcast. And I looked at that and I was hurt.
Yeah.
I was going, shit, I'm a 41
So,
man.
I mean, we get that all the time. Yeah. And podcasters get that all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, they should make podcast equipment more expensive. Yeah. You know?
That's very good.
And the amazing thing is,
it shouldn't be for everybody.
No, it shouldn't be available to everybody.
Yeah.
But the thing is now, with companies like Rhodes, it fucking is available to everyone to do it. But we get comments like that on our videos too. Like, you know.
I'd be kind of thinking they're half right in times, like.
I know they are right though.
Yeah.
Like that's one thing I wouldn't dispute. Like, is that like we shouldn't be allowed to do this. Like back in the day, it used to be about maybe 9. There used to be 9 broadcasters in Ireland. Like as in people, I mean.
Tony Fenton.
You had 3 fellas on during the day, and then someone did the DJ set it nice.
Yeah.
That was kind of it. Like now we're all think we're great. Like, you know.
Now we can all do it.
And we can all do it. And the thing is,
in fairness, there's a great thing about it can all be ignored as well.
It cannot. That is so true.
Yeah, you can do it, but it doesn't mean
one of the most
someone's gonna
overused comments on TikTok is also like, well, if you don't like it, move on. Like, but but it's also true. Like, just don't be worrying about it. If it's not for you, then
not for you, move on.
But having said that, when Kendy and Raybo put out content, we're putting that out for people. So if a fella wants to say, I think Kendy might be the biggest prick that Ireland has ever created, I have to accept that. Hey, come on now. Whoa. I have to accept that.
went down well with the studio audience.
They're all like, finally now someone is saying this.
Yeah.
So, but I had to accept that because I've put it out there. Like, I'm the flute that put it out there.
Yeah. I seen a lad today in a tractor. And
he shouldn't be up in a tractor.
But he's on a tractor and he was after a tractor pull. I don't know who this fella was, and I watched the whole video because I was intrigued. But he was a tractor pulling gentleman, and obviously he liked the farming and mapped tractors up to 400 horsepower and all that jazz.
Oh, Jesus.
And he was doing some sort of a tractor pull, and some fella ate him from a height and abused him.
My mother would have said, fucked him from a height.
Fucked him from a height.
He was fucked from a height, that fella.
Yeah, he's fucked from a height. But this fella had driven down the road, not wanting to get into an altercation with this gentleman who abused him.
Yeah.
And he then did a video on the tractor, in the tractor cab, and he says, I'm not doing these videos anymore now. I can't be dealing with stuff like that.
No.
But a part of me was looking at him going, don't be heeding your man.
Yeah.
That's
so why did your man F him from a height?
I think, again, notions. Maybe he didn't like to see him getting ahead on the old TikTok.
Oh, he did it in a comment.
Oh, no, as in front of him at the tractor pull. He kind of went up and he was sniggering at him. He kind of bullying him a little.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a flute, like.
It is, yeah, but I was sad to see a man then deciding that's it now. Ball burst, game over.
I don't think he will, though. I think he's probably hurt now. I would get like that sometimes, too. He'd probably be back, if you know what I mean. Like, and the thing is, he's right and your man is wrong. And the great thing is, that should never be disputed by normal people who are going, come here, if your man wants to put a video, you're wrong.
Move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah.
So, especially doing it in public as well. But then again, we would be saying to people, you wouldn't have the confidence now to say that to me in front of me, Joe.
Yeah.
Your man did for a
Your man did for a bit. Apparently, he was very uncomfortable.
He cornered him. But it is funny. Like some of the you're on about farming there now. For some reason, TikTok seems to believe that I might become a farmer.
Why?
Because it's all farming content I'm getting now. Now, it is because I watched Jeremy Clarkson's Farm.
There you are now.
Which I think is probably the best TV show I've ever watched.
Really?
Yeah, I think it actually is, you know.
I have no compulsion to go back
It's
and
my
watch
favourite.
seasons 2, 3 or 4.
I just took to it like a duck to Kendy. Right. Honest to God. I just think, even though parts of it might be scripted or whatever, or set up, I think it's really authentic.
Yeah.
And even though, so he says it himself, even though he has Amazon money, he's not really in any, he's spending money on his farm, like hand over fished, but he's not in the same trouble that other farmers are.
No, he's not stuck.
But that's not to say he's not highlighting the problems.
Yeah.
He set up a fucking co-op
He's
of
good for
people
it.
to try and set up a pub that only serves the foods that these people in this co-op have created. He will not serve ketchup in his pub unless he can get a ketchup supplier
Yeah.
that only makes British food. And the food is extortionate prices because of that.
Yeah.
Because it's so much cheaper for people to fucking... We burnt down half the Amazon rainforest to get in Brazilian beef, and you're like, geez, you have to hand it to him. He has no skin in this game. He could
he's
walk
there.
away tomorrow.
Yeah.
But he says, do you know what? The series is flying. I'm going to use all this Amazon money.
Yeah.
And I'm going to use the platform to try and do something that he loves doing, stressed out of his mind, and for something good.
Have you episodes yet to watch?
No, I've watched everything.
Have you watched it more than once?
Yeah, I've watched season 1 and 2 and 3 like a couple of times.
Wow.
Yeah, but now season 4 is just out,
Yeah.
and it's when he opened his pub. It's absolutely fantastic. So what would we do? What would we do to better the country? What if we ever made what would be the first sector in this country that you would try and help?
Probably none of them.
Help yourself,
I would
says
be
you.
very much helping me.
Help yourself,
Yeah,
says you.
I would be. I'm doing a lot of helping me, and when I'm finished helping me, and if I had helped myself as much as possible to the point where I no longer needed assistance, I always said I'd put a decent sound system in every pub in town, and I'd hire 3 lads to keep them all ticking over.
That's really good.
Yeah.
See, what I like about that, Ray, genuinely is we can help everybody. So everyone, Greta Lunchbox is on a
She's not in the boat no more.
So no, but what I mean, she's trying to do her thing, but we all can only do every little helps, as they used to say in Dunch Doers years ago. So I like that your thing is just to help the pubs in town have a better
That was the only
sound
thing I
system.
had in my head. Yeah.
I really like that because you're not. I'm glad you didn't say, "Oh, I'd end world hunger if I did." You know what I mean? There's people.
realistic things.
Yeah, realistic. If I became a millionaire tomorrow, it probably wouldn't be from this. But if I did, and I didn't have to worry about money, I would get a film crew to film me like Clarkson's Kendy, right? I wouldn't obviously be as good as he is on it, but I would build 25, I would buy a field and build 25 houses in Sligo, and I would sell them all off if I was allowed to at like 100 grand each. I would build a housing estate at 100 grand.
So you'd obviously hire
each.
people to build it because you wouldn't be good at building it yourself.
So I would take the loss.
Okay.
But I would still charge people. I wouldn't just give them away.
Yeah.
But I would hand select 25 families.
Yeah.
Not just from Ireland, by the way. I'm not just saying Irish families. I'd only pick...
Yeah.
I just mean 25 families that I think are worth it to get a house and that think that they have a connection to Sligo and want to live here. And I would put them in the house and I would charge them 100 grand. That's what I would do. You'd have to be working and willing and able. Yeah. But what I wouldn't do is, and it's not their fault, I wouldn't go with what property developers are doing now, which is there's brand new houses being built all around me in Caltra. All good and well. Brilliant. I'm so glad they're in the market. They're 400 grand for a 3-bed.
I find that driving up to your house lately, it's literally they're surrounding you.
Oh, it's a new town.
It's a new town, yeah.
I think it's
and
so
not
class.
a playground to be seen.
No, they'll have to change that now.
Do they?
And in fairness to Finbar Filan, even though you get in, the one thing he called to the door and said, he said, geez, this is going to be massive, and nothing for your kids to do around the place, So he was dead right in that. But we're getting surrounded by it now, and I think it's class because I think a place like the Crow Zone might reopen now.
Yeah.
I know that means nothing to people out there, but there's not
the
opening.
local bar that isn't the bar anymore.
Yeah, there's the Centra in Caltra is brilliant, but that's it. In Caltra, there's a hairdresser's, but and it's
what's the hairdresser's like?
I haven't a clue. I don't know.
Would you not go into your local hairdressers and get
No, because I go out to Rory's Maitland out in Colooney, and I'm a gentleman as well.
Is it sad that men can't go into ladies'
Well, I
boutiques?
used to go into Padder Marks, but I can't do that anymore.
Peter Mark.
Yeah. So, but I don't do that anymore. But anyway, the point is, me and Nicola are hoping that obviously all those new streams of houses, and don't tell me about Help to Buy scheme and the first time buyer scheme, because that's why the houses are 450 grand. The developers have clearly seen, hang on a minute, they're going to get 100 grand from the government. Will you hike that up, Shamey? Hike it up to fuck, will you? So we're hoping that obviously more houses in the second-hand market now might come on board around that Caltra area, because we want to live there. That'd be great, for housing where we live now. Anyway, the point is, that's what I would do, and I would document it and try and raise the awareness that Jeremy Clarkson has raised for the farming community in Britain, and do the same thing for housing in Ireland.
And what if you were doing it and you realised, Jesus, I won't be able to do 25 now, I'll only be able to do 15 because the price of everything.
Yeah, I know what you're saying though, but this is a pipe dream now. I'm not going to do this.
No,
Ray.
but let's give you
well then it'll be 15. We'd pick 15 families.
Yeah, 15,
then
yeah. But I suppose you documenting the fact
Yeah,
of
it would show
the
you
actual price.
Yeah, it would show you.
Because
I'm just letting you know, the Sparkies
Yeah.
and the Carpenters are
Yeah.
after telling me it's going to cost 80 grand more.
You made a point there about the contractors, and I'm not defending them because you know me, devil's advocate.
No, you're dead right to defend them though, if you
But
want to.
contractors are obviously building like a housing estate, 74 houses.
They're
or
a
whatever.
slave to.
And they have to make it work on paper, and they have to make it worth their while.
Yeah.
So it'd be really interesting if someone did give you €5 million or 10 million euro
To see how much you get out of
kind
it.
of go, look, you go ahead there now,
Yeah.
and belt away, and you're actually doing like Clarkson's Farm, and you're actually in the middle of it going,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, I had no idea that
know.
Irish Water were charging that much to connect these 25 houses.
That is so funny you say that, because that's what happened to him with the pub. Not to spoil that on anyone, but when he was trying to come up with the pub, they had to run a Wi-Fi line.
Yeah.
Which was on a different connection.
Yeah.
They were charging him €1,000 a month just for Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And then they had to connect the water line,
Yeah.
which was taken from a village down the town, fucked everything up.
Yeah.
Like, they're 100 grand on that.
loads
So
and
I
loads
do
of
understand
problems,
that. And it sounded there, I get what you're saying, it sounded there like I was giving out about just, it's the developers hiking the price. Of course it's not. Everything is inflated.
Yeah.
From top to bottom, everything gets inflated. Yeah. But if I could spare the money, if I'm doing my good deed as a citizen and I can spare the money, that's what I would do.
All the while I'm down in the local bar listening to the fancy speakers I put in.
And you're delighted.
I've helped no one.
But you have just as much smugness as I do. But you deserve that too. Now, the only thing is, with my estate, I have to be like the overlord.
Okay,
And if you
would you call
in,
it Kendy Crescent?
I'd call it Waco or something. No, but what I'm saying if I ask for your wife, like, you have to send her up to the house, like,
Okay,
I'm just saying, there'll be a couple of stipulations. The house is only 100 grand rate. There has to be a cat somewhere, like.
There has to be some sort of a compromise and a sacrifice.
So I'd live in a big
So
commune.
if me and Laura did get a house down in Kendy Crescent,
if I called on a Ray, you'd have to let her off.
I'd have to let her off.
But
Can you go up to
nothing
Mark
just
for a minute.
But it's not that. It's just that I might preach the odd time to some of the normal to
Would
people
there be
around
some sort
the
of a
place.
gathering house to hear the word of Kendy?
Yeah, we'd have a little commune, and maybe a little steeple.
Okay.
We'd have. No, we'd have to.
I'd say no one knew it'd be a big steeple.
It'd be a big, hefty steeple. We'd have to talk to the
throbbing,
contractors about that,
veiny.
Ray. That'd put about 200 grand on the whole lot, I'd say. Jeez, that's an awful size of a steeple you want to put up there. Kendy steeple.
Kendy's big yoke.
Oh, that's an unmerciful steeple. He has a bed on the top of it as well, I heard.
Oh no.
Ring my bell. Anyway, that's what I do. I'd love to have that money, because I'd love to just highlight. I'd love to be going in, and when a family applies, you document it, and they say, well, actually, we went for a house in Drogheda, but we got outbid by someone, or someone came there as a cash buyer. There was 300 people waiting outside the house, and people go, geez, that's fucking mad.
Yeah, you could make a television show as well. You know, with X Factor.
That's what I'm trying to do.
But instead, you'd have like a family coming up on the stage going, well, why?
Who wants to live in Kendyville?
Who wants to live in Kendy?
Yeah.
Who wants to be a Kendionaire?
Who? Yeah, like I'd have to judge them coming in.
Got
then,
a house.
Yeah, and then didn't suit you there. Now the kids weren't crying enough. Sorry about that.
Exactly. Sorry now, yeah. So you're fine. Nothing's wrong with you. Like,
Nothing.
Happy, healthy family. Why
Come back next year, but a bit more miserable if you could.
Yeah.
If you come back next year with 3 or 4 more fucking with 3 or 4 more like rejections from county council above in Dublin, we'll see how we can get on next year.
I'd love if there was, like obviously RTE has limited, capacity funding wise to fund such endeavours at the moment. They had Big Pound, but then all of a sudden Marty Morrissey, Flip Flops, etc. Ryan Tubridy, the whole lot.
Yeah.
They don't have the money now to be doing. But Channel 4 might come in and do an owl program like that.
But that's perfect. That's half
Amazon.
to.
Amazon might.
Let's put it off. Put it on after Place in the Sun. Half 2 in the day. For all mothers to be watching. And that's all they watch at half 2 in the day.
Lovely.
A Place in the Sun. Philip and Kira have come to Albufeira to try and get a fucking... Put it on after that.
Yeah, Philip and Kira are now sitting down with Mark to see do they qualify for one of his 25
They'd like to put in an
castles.
offer. Well, I'm not giving it to them. Why?
Yeah.
They're from Cornwall.
Mark has asked Philip how comfortable would he be with letting Kira come up to the big house on occasion for some activities.
Yeah, just out of interest to let everyone know that they are retired, like they're in their 80s.
Yeah.
For some reason, Mark is even more adamant she comes up now.
Even though she can't with the walker. Anyway.
Too early for 3 o'clock TV.
Jeez, that was a fair
Mark has
bounce
a
around.
fetish.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
Mark has been warned not to indulge in his fetish. He has currently asked 4 80-year-olds to come over to his house.
Where
Anyway,
are we going next?
sure, I don't know where we're going to. Go wherever you want. I'll drink a micro IPA and you tell me where you want to go.
Right. I had so much to say there. I had in my head, I wanted to talk about bunions. Are you familiar?
Bad Bunions.
Bad bunions.
A Bally Bunions.
Why do they call it Bally Bunions?
So.
Yeah,
it's an awful name. There's some awful places
I'm
that are
41,
named.
and as you said Macroom earlier, or Macroon Bar.
A Macroon Bar used to be called, but the
Macaroon,
not Macroon, yeah.
Yeah, so when you said Macroom, it reminded me of Ballybunion, because they're in the same place generally. And then during the week I realised, well, I didn't know what a bunion was.
So,
Do you know what a bunion is?
still don't know what a bunion is.
You're better off. I actually think I'm going to leave this segment because I think you're the happy person I was before Tuesday.
Can we, just before we go any further, Ray,
Yeah.
without you don't have to talk about them.
Right.
I'm going to Google what they look like.
Okay, you can Google it. Now, see, I had an incident. I was doing a lovely gig with Brian's McDermott Pixel Productions there at the weekend, and I was trying to gather up a cable.
It's like an extra toe. Oh, sorry.
I was trying to gather up a cable at an event in the Glasshouse Hotel, and a lady tried to be nice and moved her chair to get out of my way, but instead she put it straight down on my foot.
That's facts.
Right?
I remember you telling me that, yeah.
Yeah. So I got hurted. And then I looked at it, and it's like a little bump on my big toe.
Yeah.
A very innocuous looking bump.
On the knuckle of your big toe.
On the knuckle of my big toe.
Yeah.
And I'm going, I don't know, is that an old chair incident at all? And I looked it up, and the Google said, oh, it most likely is a bunion.
You have a belly bunion.
But then I thought, when I looked up what bunions were, which are horrible, horrible things that once you have them, that's it. You can only go and get surgery.
What? No, like it's like an STI, is this?
No, it's not.
So it's like having a chlamydia or whatever. You can't get rid of that. Or herpes.
Apparently, if you get a bunion, they don't go away by themselves.
No, you can't put a bunion cream on.
No, there's no bunion cream. You can't put any sort of a bunion spray on it. It basically something you have
Sour
to
cream and bunions. You can't put that on.
No, you can't. Yeah. So you have to go to a specialist, and then he removes it, surgery, and then you have to wear a boot for 6 weeks.
But what do you mean remove it? Is it not like a little infection? As in, does he cut off a part of your foot?
But yeah, it's a growth under the skin, apparently. That's I don't know. I'm just disgusted.
Does he suck it out of you? I know, yeah.
And I know that when this episode goes out, people are going to look at me differently.
Sick. So have you got one?
I don't know. It's either a chair.
Do you want me to have a look at it?
It's either a chair incident or...
I'll know by the smell.
Would you? No, I'm not taking it out in the podcast.
Wait.
No,
honestly,
actually for the
I know by
people.
the temperature in the room after you take it.
Do you want me to take it out?
Look, can I have a look at it under the table? Come on, let me have a look at it under the table.
No, I put it up on the table.
You're going to let the people see it on the Patreon.
It's actually going away. This is disgusting stuff. There. It's actually getting better. It's not as sore as it was.
That's like the Sum 41.
I think it's a bruise. I think it's a wee bruise.
That's like the Sum 41 in...
and I'm
Does This Look Infected? Wasn't that a Sum 41 album?
I'm very, very lucky that... And by the way, Brendan, if you got a photo of that...
Don't put it up on
I'm telling you now,
Patreon.
I'll take the phone off you, and that'll be the end of it. It'll be AI. We'll even change the name of the AI. It'll be AI Tom.
Come here, Ray. I don't think that's a bunion. I think that's someone dropping it. I think the bunion is lower on your foot.
But it has raised my awareness of bunions.
Well, I'm so glad that we're raising bunion awareness, actually, on the podcast now for everyone out there. Because that's how... I've changed my mind. I don't want to build an estate.
Do you...
I'd use my money to cure everyone with bunions.
To try and make bunions a thing of the past.
Yeah, I would. That's what I do instead.
But what I couldn't get over is that they named a town after it.
But they didn't. Why is it called Ballybunion?
Town of the Bunions. Ballybunion.
Yeah, the town of Bunions. So no wonder, man, walking at that beach.
God.
But come here, that's not right. That's a bruise. Someone dropped the leg of a chair on your foot.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
And did you let it roar out at her? Right?
I did.
And did you say, don't be doing that to me?
Well, I did, yeah.
There's an amazing video if anyone wants to look it up. You probably don't. Lars Ulrich, the drummer from Metallica, is listening back in the studio to like some song they recorded.
Yeah.
But you know those, office chairs with wheels on the bottom of it?
Yeah.
He's in there with no shoes on.
Oh.
And the fucking producer,
What's up for the toe?
they're like listening to us and he's like, yeah, sounds good. Yeah. And he rolls over his foot. And when you get that rage, especially
of all the men in the world.
of all the he just goes, fuck, don't do that ever again. That's what he says to him. And it's the best video ever because I just love him getting pissed off.
Yeah,
Anyway, Ray, sorry now.
Anyway, that's my little talk about bunions. I have a few other bits that I want to get to before we wrap it up. First of all,
go on.
do you remember before, a couple of episodes back, I was talking about getting a new van?
I mean, by all accounts, you had one, like, nearly.
Yeah, I nearly had one.
Twice you've actually bought new
It was the
vans.
local Citroen garage. What's it called? Kelly Cars? What's it called again?
Kevin Egan.
Kevin Egan Cars.
Yeah.
Kevin Egan Cars here in Sligo were very nice to me. I was talking to them. I was thinking about getting a new van.
Yeah.
And me and a lovely gentleman by the name of Ronan, I think you know him.
Yeah.
Ronan, he's possibly the greatest car salesman I've ever met because I was nearly there.
Yeah.
He had me.
The only thing was Ray offered him, he said he'd pay him back a tenner a week.
No. But Ronan's a very nice fella, and I've always thought Ronan, since I've met him, is a very nice fella. But unfortunately, just after I had put all the spec together and we knew exactly what colour the van was going to be, the length, the whole lot, what was going to have infotainment. The doors at the back, they were going to open the fully way around. It was
Where
going
I'd sit on the way to Atlantic gigs.
It was even Mark's seat was specified.
Yeah, it was specified
This was
for
a
mine.
beautiful, beautiful Citroen van, and I nearly had it bought, but then I went, hold on a second now. There's other stuff, and then it was after that. Then we realised that many other bills had to be paid before a new van could be bought.
Yes,
such as the absence of a floor in our house.
That was a really big one, actually.
Yeah, there was the foot and a half missing in the floor. Anyway, Roland the last day, all credit to him, Kevin Egan Cars, sent me a photo
of what you could have had.
He said,
like fucking what you call your man.
I was so
Bruce
impressed.
Forsyth.
Yeah.
Here's what you could have won.
I was so impressed, he said, with the specification of the van that you ordered that I just went ahead and ordered it anyway. Because obviously he's going to sell it.
Yeah, someone's going to buy it.
Yeah, someone is going to walk in and see my beautiful baby.
They're going to buy your dream van.
My dream van. And then I'm going to see my dream van driving around town.
Sligo.
I could be so upset.
I mean, that is literally like Bullseye when you miss and they go, look, you could have won a speedboat. That's exactly what it's like.
It was fair play to you, Ronan. I'm really glad for you. But I was
someone is going to be driving around in Ray's dream van.
Yeah.
I mean, I really hope that... Come here, Kevin Egan Cars, Ronan or Kyle or whoever's working there, right?
Yeah.
Will you give them $5,000 off if they drive by Ray's house every day and beep?
or park anywhere near our house.
Just let it beep.
Yeah.
Driving well, Ray.
Yeah.
Just tick it over nice today now.
Yeah.
I'm glad you picked the heated seats, Ray. That's fucking lovely.
Yeah,
it's a lovely job.
Yeah.
That's hard to do. Imagine you literally drew up the perfect car. You did the equivalent of me setting up a Thoman order, right?
Yeah.
All the way to the checkout.
Yeah.
And then go, no, I sure can't afford that.
Yeah.
And turn it back.
And then Uncle Dwayne goes in and buys the whole thing.
He buys the whole lot.
And he's going, just have to get a rate deal in this stuff.
I'm delighted now about that Helix. Anyway, no one else gets that. Go on anyway.
So next up there, I wanted to talk about, again, a previous episode, we talked about a full-time John, which is a word now or a phrase I've used an awful lot. Full-time John.
Can you refresh me again? Because I can't remember.
Full-time John in this podcast vocabulary is a gentleman of the house, so a husband, normally.
Oh, yeah.
Or partner, that literally is great at everything and gets all the jobs done, and you can't really fault him.
And their wife loves them.
And their wife, and the kids love him, and nothing is ever a problem.
Okay,
right?
so...
And now, you're not a full-time job.
No.
Because you have a man that comes in and trims your bush.
He does a good trimming on me. He trims Nicola's bush too.
All the bushes in the house.
He comes in and trims my and Nicola's bush.
So
he takes a good while at Nicola's
You're not a full-time John. I'm not a full-time John because I have a Trevor that's essentially building my house for me.
Yeah.
And I'm having to just pop down every now and again on my lunch break.
It's so like you're a wee fanny is what we are.
Yeah.
Wee fannies.
So this evening we were in our current accommodations while we're waiting on the house to be built.
Yeah.
To be built up.
You're living in your second house.
Second house. And a gardener was brought in to control the garden at the back. Now, only 2 weeks ago, I cut it.
Yeah.
I brought a trimmer up from home and I cut the shite out of it.
Yeah.
I didn't wear any of the protective gear. I got stabbed. I got hurt.
Brambles.
I got brambles. I got all sorts of stuff stuck in my eye.
Nettles.
I destroyed a lovely pair of clothes.
Yeah.
That's all gone.
So who hired in
Laura's mum.
Yeah.
And he landed in this evening to give Laura's mum a quote.
Yeah.
On doing up the garden, and he stopped by my little working from home office on the way out.
Yeah.
The two of them, and like, hello.
Oh, it hurts, doesn't it?
And I have to give him a shout out. It's gardencare.ie.
Yeah.
And his quote was very reasonable.
Yeah.
And he's a very nice fella, and he said, I'll have all that sorted.
And he did a great job, did he?
And he hasn't done it yet. He only came in to do the quote. But I have to say, it cut me real deep.
Yeah, so I understand that, Ray.
Yeah, but he did identify the two reasons why I'm not out doing the garden. As in, he could see me at the office desk.
You're
in
flat
the
to the
room,
man. Yeah,
flat to mat.
yeah.
And he said, and come here, you play a bit of music, because I had some musical items on. I said, I do play music in the evenings and at the weekends.
He may as well have put a picture of your drawing up on the fridge, Ray, the way he was talking to you.
And you have a podcast, because he's seen the podcast poster up in the corner.
He said, you're flat to the man.
I said, I have a podcast. And he said, right. And I said, and that's the reason you're here.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a full-time John.
And he was like, it's okay, love.
It's okay, I'll trim your bush.
Yeah, and he picked you up.
Yeah.
And he said, do you want to go for a little sleep, maybe? Or something while I do this. So there's a couple of things on that there.
This is really hard to watch.
I got big time Johned by Nicola.
What'd she do?
She...
Don't think she got someone in to fix something.
No, well, I mean, she's going to. So she she made me buy plug sockets, like as in covers. This just shows you how stupid I am. I don't even know what they're called. you plug your things into them on the wall.
Oh, sockets.
No, but like the sockets themselves.
Yeah.
Just the faceplate. Just the faceplate, obviously, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I said, where do you want me to put them? And she was like, no. My Uncle Jerry's going to do that. Don't touch that.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, that fucking
That's
hurts.
even worse when this man was a stranger. I'd never met him before.
Oh, it's worse when it's...
But when it's her family member coming in to fix something, you're sitting there, the stupid husband.
It was awful. She was like, Uncle Jerry's going to come over and do that. And like, he's the one who like, he did all the flooring in our attic. Like, he fixed our blinds when they were broke. And every time Uncle Jerry comes over, lovely fella and all. But I just faded to the back. And the other thing is, you're on about full-time Johns, right? There is a gentleman on the TikTok world called Andrew.
Oh.
I hope I get her name right. She's a brilliant. I really love watching her content. I think her name is Sarah Little. I don't know who she is. They're from up north. And he's a farmer and a contractor farmer, like as in silage season. He does everyone's stuff. Do you know that kind of thing?
Yeah,
He'd be going off all the time.
Yeah.
And they're beautiful, beautiful young family. And she like adores them.
Yeah, of course she does.
That's the thing, Ray.
That's the love we yearn for.
For Nicola and Laura, if you're listening, please don't listen to the next bit because it's really like, this is, what's the word when you don't want someone to hear what you do because it's been embarrassing or whatever? Like, there's another word. Anyway, I'm shameful. Really shame. So Laura and Nicola, check out now.
Yeah.
She absolutely loves him, right? Because he's a brilliant young fella. He's brilliant. And they have a wee daughter and he goes out all day long, right? Working.
Yeah.
And then he comes home and he's a bundle of joy and she's laughing and he's laughing. Now, this is a TikTok world, so obviously behind the scenes there might not be all that going on.
Yeah.
But she's driving the next 5. Seems pretty good to me.
She could be betting him around the place.
Like. Maybe she's betting him. Who knows? Maybe she's betting him, Ray.
Yeah, maybe she's betting him.
Maybe she's betting. But
maybe that's why he's so
But then
jolly.
whenever he comes in the door, he's like, any chance you might do me up a steak, love? And she says, I will. I've never heard that before in my life. I couldn't believe it.
Credit where credit is due.
She didn't like bite back. She didn't say, do something about, like the last day, right? The girls were in the bath.
Yeah.
The girls were in the bath. And I was giving the 2 girls a bath.
Yeah.
And I said to Nicola, these toys that they're playing with, we're getting, like stagnant water sits in them. I was like, we really should give these a wash. Right? To which Nicola said, off with you, and walked away. And I just went, do you know what? That man's getting a steak made from because he's brilliant.
And then what's worse is then an hour later, Uncle Jerry was there washing out the toys.
Uncle Jerry then came over. She said, don't touch them, Uncle Jerry's going to... Do you know? Like sometimes genuinely, and she's right, like, I'm not blaming Nicola, she's right, but she talks to me like she's me carer. And it's fucking like...
Yeah.
Go home and try it.
Yeah.
Ask her to make me a steak.
Yeah.
That is so scary. That is such a scary prospect.
No, I'm fine. I've no issue at all. Laura's chomping at the bit to go cooking dinners. Like, she's mighty at it.
No, Nicola, sorry, I get that
her biggest
too.
problem is that I can't pick what I want for dinner. I don't know what I want for dinner until about 6 o'clock.
I thought you were going to say, her biggest problem is that it all tastes like shite. It's always wrong. No, the thing is, like, Nicola will say to me, will I make dinner? And I'm like, yeah, you make dinner, say, like.
Yeah.
But, like, the prospect of saying to her, would you head in there and do that up for me there now?
Laura floated an idea now, in fairness to her there on Sunday.
I'm not swapping.
No,
I'm just not yet. We'll see.
She floated an idea because her biggest problem is I don't know what I want for dinner until it's nearly dinner time.
Yeah, we'll talk
I can't
about
make decisions.
We'll talk about that in a minute because my blood's boiling now. Sorry now, Ray, but remind me to come back to that.
She said that she's going to start cooking her own choice of dinner for me, things that I like on every night of the week.
Good idea.
So that I just come in, it's dinner time and whatever I get is what I'm having.
Yeah.
She said she's going to stop asking me the question, what do you want for dinner?
No.
She's just going to go ahead and decide.
Yeah, but can I just say,
Now,
she's wrong.
why?
She has gaslit you, Ray.
Oh.
Have you heard of the activity of gaslighting?
I've heard
She's
of it.
gaslighting you, Ray.
Why so?
Because women, everywhere, all of them are the same. This is the one thing I don't like throwing out judgments like that across a broad spectrum.
Yeah.
All women are the same in this one particular thing. They think that we're the only ones that can't decide on dinner. They think fellas, and Laura has gaslit you into believing that you don't know what you want to eat.
But I
Because
don't know
of the lack... No, you're not... Ray, come here. You're the victim in this.
Why am I the victim?
I'll explain to you. You think that
Is
you're
she
wrong.
putting pressure on me or something, is it?
No, they think that we're the only ones. You can decide on your dinner, but sometimes you do like to have an open conversation with her and ask her if she maybe wants to decide what you should have for dinner, right?
Okay.
But that is not the case. Nicola says to me every day, what do you want for dinner? Sometimes I'll tell her, I'll make a curry.
Yeah.
You make a pasta, make a whatever. The one day out of the 7 days in the week that I say, I'm not really sure, what do you think? She goes, you never decide.
Yeah, Yes.
You never ever decide.
I do.
I always have to decide.
This sounds familiar.
Yes, it does. Now you're coming out. You're having an epiphany, an awakening, Ray. Ray, you've been abused, Ray. Okay?
Maybe
it's
I have.
safe now to come out and talk.
Sometimes I don't know what I want for dinner, and I just want an open conversation about what options might be there.
And do you get called a bollocks?
Yeah.
I rest my case.
Well, she doesn't call me a bollocks.
No, but she says, "Oh, well, you just decide. You never decide. It's always."
No, it's kind of like, okay, we'll wait and so, because she wants to get on with the evening and have the dinner ready.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying they're all like this, Ray.
Oh.
Real vindictive bitches.
Sorry.
All of them.
We won't go home. We'll ask for a stay.
Test it out tonight.
Yeah.
Test it out now tonight.
Yeah. And if you don't hear from us next week, you know what's happened.
You know what happened?
Yeah. Speaking of next week,
We both got divorced.
the next week now isn't the live show, is it? Fuck.
Next week is the live show. It can't be.
I couldn't be, could it?
It can't be.
But hold on, this goes out on Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
The live show is the night. Yes, this is our last podcast between now and the live show.
Okay, so
because there won't be an episode on the week of the 19th because that'll be the night.
Yeah,
of the
so you can
podcast.
go to the live show. The other thing is, this is the last ever live show. If you want to enjoy it, come to the last ever live show.
And see Mark's miserable head while I'm sitting there actually quite enjoying myself.
Yeah, no, I don't want to be
myself and Dave Duke, two big harpingers of positivity.
I do and don't. I don't really.
We should
I'm sick
also
of it now.
Wish happy birthday to Sean Riley.
Oh,
Yeah.
And Sean Riley, if you didn't know this, Sean Riley did the Alan Clark, the Big News Coming Soon podcast.
He went and got massive.
And can I just say, it's one of the best listens I've had.
I
in a long
haven't
time.
heard it yet.
Have you not listened to it?
I'm kind of afraid to listen to it because
Sean,
apparently he talked about me.
he
at the
talks about you
start.
loads, but really good though.
No,
Everyone loves you.
I had a cringy.
They all love you. They call me a stupid piece of shit. No, they didn't.
A big fat piece of shit.
They call me a big fat messy old hairy old piece of shit. No, they didn't. It's really good. Sean comes across so well in it.
Big News Coming Soon podcast.
Yeah, so
Alan Clark.
look that up as well.
Yeah, sure, yeah,
Come
sure.
next Thursday if you want. I'm sick to death of it, to be
I know,
honest.
but could you please just put a little bit of a positive head in you?
I try every time we do these live podcasts, I try and be positive.
You know,
about
by
it.
the way, if people at home, this is just Mark pretending. He really loves it.
It's not me pretending.
Definitely
It's
you
not.
pretending.
I mean it. This is the last time you get to see us live. I'm
Yeah,
not doing it anymore. I hate you.
Cool.
Genuinely.
Happy 7th anniversary as well.
Oh, happy 7th anniversary. Podcast 7 year olds.
6th of June was our first episode back
Unreal.
in 2018.
2018, man.
Yeah, and
How have we still not met us?
I don't know.
We must. Is it us?
It's a failure. I blame the management.
Have you thought about looking internally, Raymond, at us to see if it's perhaps
See, there's
us?
someone we could let go.
You know,
Why am I feel like I'm going to get sacked?
Stig. We
Mark on his own.
we could let someone go, Ray. Yes.
Yeah.
Think about that. Anyway, look at fair play to Gareth Vogel Mace for sponsoring us, and big fair play to Brendan and AI Brendan for flicking the keys clean off themselves. We'll see you Thursday the 19th.
19th, folks.
Ray, fair play to me.
Fair play to me.
Good luck.
Good luck. The Kendy and Raybo podcast, sponsored by Maeve's Cozy Front Lounge and the Garavo.